Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Harmony and I'm so happy to be here. If you don't know me, you can check out the link to my website and to my Facebook page in the description box below. So yeah, I just created a Facebook page where I'll be posting some videos exclusive to my Facebook page and also some offers on the services that I provide. So keep an eye on that and you can follow me there if you like. So yeah, so today's topic is all about do I put myself first? So I had a hard time understanding that because there are two types of people. Some people like they just look after themselves, and first they always do that. They care only about themselves. But there is another type of people where they are always doing for others. It's all to do with how they're brought up or it's in their nature or they always like to help, so they will do everything for everybody else, and the last one they look at is themselves. So when I was going through my own difficult time in my journey of going through all of this, understanding what's going on in my life, when I touched the rock bottom. So there's a lot of lessons that came up to me that I started realizing when I started giving meaning and finding out the answers to what was going on. And one of the things that came up was that I found out that I didn't put myself first. Every time I would be caring for someone else, doing everything I can for them, going extra miles for everybody else. But when it would come to myself, I would always leave myself the last person. Like I wouldn't care, wouldn't have to look into what I've got to do because I'm so spending my time doing to make other people happy, to do things for others. So that's what I got to understand when I was on my own. Well, I'm still on my own, but when everything happened, like I went through the darkest time of my life, and I was forced into a situation where I had no other way out, and I had to deal with it. I had to be on my own to get to understand all of this, all these lessons that I had to learn. That I was always, ignoring them, not even looking at them, and this was one of them. So it came up to me like, do I put myself first? And when that hit me, because I used to go into meditation and contemplation, and I used to get look for answers, and wherever I would ask a question, the question would get thrown back at me, so make me think and make me realize that yeah. So that question came up to me, and then that question came up, and I asked, um, do I put myself first? Then the question got thrown back at me. This is how I communicate with my own gods, my own higher self, or God self, whatever you call it. And that got thrown back at me, or whether they were my guides at that time. Um, and then I said to myself, no, I don't, because I've always been doing things for others. And then I said, I got to think about it, and then I was saying that, but how can it's so selfish if I get to do things for myself, just putting myself first before looking at others. But what I got to realize is that before we do something for others, before we help others, before we are in a space so we can do everything we can for others, we need to do it for ourselves. It's the same thing like charity starts at home. So it's the same thing when it comes to putting yourself first. And this is what I got: divine selfishness. So when I put the word divine in front of the selfishness, then I got to realize, like, yeah, I termed this, I coined this term, and when I put divine in front of the selfishness, then I got to realize that I can't help someone else unless I help myself. I need to help myself first to be in a position where I can help someone else. So, to give you an example, this is the example that came to me. It's like when we are flying, before we fly on the plane, when the instructions are being given to the flight instructions, what happens if the oxygen masks fall right in front of you. You have to help yourself first and then help your child, the person is sitting next to you. So this is what I mean by putting yourself first. So we can't go and help others and do things for others when we are ourselves not right, because what's happening? We are not taking care of ourselves. It's got to do with every areas of life. So it could be like, physically, mentally, emotionally. We need to give that care to ourselves. And this is what I was pushed into, because I always been in relationship, and it was hard for me not to be in one. But this is what I had to learn. This is what I've learned. One of my lessons. There's still a lot. We are always learning. So yeah, I've got more, because we're always ever expanding, ever evolving. But this is a lesson that, one of the first lessons that I had to learn. Like, yes, it's fine to do things for others, but at the end of the day, when we do some things for others, it's not when we do things for others, it's fine, but we are not looking at ourselves. And when we start doing things for ourselves, people might say, yeah, that's selfish, but it's not, because it's selfless, because we all have got something special in us. And if we don't give ourselves a chance to know what it is, to understand what it is, it could be something so special that we can be helping hundreds and thousands of people. But because we don't give ourselves this opportunity, we don't give ourselves this time to work on ourselves, we are always trying to help others. This is what happens. So we are preventing ourselves from growing, expanding, evolving. And one of my issues was like, yeah, I know spiritually I was growing, but I would always tell people, like, not everyone, but close ones, like, this is what you need to be doing. So I could get the insight of what to tell them, but at the end of the day, I didn't realize that, yes, I know all these things, but by telling someone else, how is it helping them? Maybe it does help them, maybe it doesn't, but am I in a position to tell them that? So this is what putting yourself first means, because I got to realize, I got to understand, like, no matter how much advice I give to people, how much I'll tell others what it is, if I'm not in a state of consciousness, when I know where I am, where I stand, how much care and love and gratitude and everything, and looking after myself, I'm giving all this to myself, giving my time to myself. How can I be in a position to go and tell someone else what to do? Or, just going and doing things for others again. So I'm ignoring my own talents, my own gifts, my own power. Whatever I've got to give, I'm ignoring that. So this is something to reflect on. I know, like, now I do these videos, I tell by my experience. So all I talk about is what I experience. But if anything I haven't experienced, I won't go and talk about it. I don't talk about it. But before, things that I would know but not experience, I would tell someone else. But going through all these stages, learning through all of this, I only talk about things that I knew and I have experienced. That's how I can talk about it. So if it can help someone else to understand themselves and give them some more insight about themselves and what they are here to do and how they can help. And instead of, shutting themselves down, just doing things for others and not focusing on themselves, they're not giving themselves the chance to be who they are. They could be like shining their light so bright that it could benefit so many people, or their environment, or the nature, or whatever. So it's something to take into consideration, to think about it, that we've all got something special in us, and we need to allow ourselves this time. We need to give ourselves this time. We need to have, whether you've got kids, you've got a family, you've got a lot of things to do, you have to do the household chores or cook and look after the kids and whatever. Even if you allow yourself 5 minutes before you go to bed, or when you are in the shower, no one is going to bother you. Give this time to yourself and try to think, like, put yourself first then, because there's no one around you. Don't think about anything else, but just give this time to yourself. Just be. Just try to be. Be yourself. Give this 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in shower, you're in the bath. Give this time to yourself. Just shut down everything else. Or before you go to bed, whenever you feel like this is your time, do that. And you'll start finding out what will start coming up, what you need to work on yourself and how you can help others better. Because if you have a clear mind and you have a clean heart, and you yourself are balanced, you'd be able to look after your family or everybody else much better, in a better way. So you will be in a better position to think what's best, even though you keep on doing things for others. But when you give yourself this time, you'll be in a better position on how to help them, how to make things better and come out of this routine, because new ideas will start flowing, will start coming to you. You get to understand, like, yeah, this can be done in a different way, that can be done in a different way. It's not always the same. We can change things. So it's certainly something you can look into and see how it can help you. And I'm going to end this video now. I hope this helps. And yeah, when you call it divine selfishness, then you understand it doesn't feel like you're being selfish. You're not being selfish for the wrong reasons, but you're being selfish to give yourself the chance to shine your divine self that is being given to all of us by the divine. So I'll leave you with this. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.